Welcome everyone to the podcast Wisdom with Wiebke, and with me today is Grattan Donnelly, and he was my professor or teacher in my very first coaching diploma, and I'm super happy and glad that he is with me today, or with us. And he is very wise. That's why I asked him to be my my interviewee today. And also, he has really great programs. And yeah, I'm just excited to have him here today and let him speak more than me. And maybe, yeah, just introduce yourself a little bit as well, so the listeners know who you are.
Yeah, thank you, Vidka, for your kind introduction. I'm not so sure about being wise, but who knows? We'll see. Yeah, so I've been in this coaching, mindfulness, nature space for a number of years. So I integrate mindfulness and nature into all the coaching work that I do with people, and I'm really fascinated by the impact then that has on people. And in a sense, it brings so much more than just coaching does by itself. So bringing all those various aspects together, and with the attitudes of mindfulness, which is a great way into curiosity and beginner's mind and acceptance and patience and so on. So yeah, the work I do with people is one-to-one coaching, which is 95% of the time is walk and talks in nature. And nature is my co-coach, as is also my golden retriever, my dog.
Amazing. Thank you so much for letting us know a little bit more about you and what you do. And I'm already getting excited when you talk about mindfulness and the beginner's mind. And you know what the podcast is about. So my very first question for you would be, what spirituality really means to you? Also, maybe with the nature in place and with the mindfulness as a background.
Yeah, and I was afraid you were going to ask that question. But here it is, and here we are. Yeah, yeah, I think where I would start with that question is, spirituality can mean so many different things. And so I grew up in Catholic Ireland, and I rejected religion at a very young age. But over the years, I have become increasingly, and I'm not sure if I'd use the word spiritual, but there's definitely a spirituality in the work that I do. So I think the nature part of it is where I'm most curious and where I feel most at home in the work that I do. And it's quite amazing, like when I'm in nature and when I'm in that flow, and when I'm working with people, when I'm in nature and in that flow, it just feels home. So in a sense, that sense of feeling at home, of belonging in this world where we're often so disconnected from ourselves, disconnected from others, and disconnected from nature, feeling at home is a real gift. And I think there's a simplicity and a beauty in that, because it's just really paying attention to what's around, what's in the environment, what's there, and then it just happens. The work flows.
Yes, great. Thanks for sharing. And also, thank you for saying that you wouldn't call it spirituality, because that's exactly what the podcast is about as well. every person might interpret it a bit differently, and maybe it doesn't even use the word spirituality. You might use more feeling at home or being in nature or using mindfulness for it. So, or someone else says then source or universe, like it's all very different. And that's what it's all about. And I want to have more discussions about, because I'm very curious about that. And so I heard you were saying feeling at home and having that more connected kind of sense in a world where we often disconnect from nature. So the more connected part, how does that feel other than home? Can you describe it a bit in more detail, maybe what's in your body as well as in senses?
Yeah, it's in a way there's a real simplicity to it. It's almost like when we're invited to describe what does presence feel like. So in coaching we often talk about presence, and actually the more we try to describe it, the more we lose what it actually is in the description. And in a sense, when you experience someone being fully present with you, that's a real gift. And it's almost like you can feel that. So you know in your body that that person is present for you. And when you have that sense, it really kind of open up your heart. So it's like, you can feel an expansion perhaps in the chest or the body, in the mind. And so it's expansive. And I think, when I'm in nature working with clients, it's also that sense of expansiveness that I really have no idea what's going to come next, but my curiosity keeps me open. And when I'm open, the 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 things that are important for the work that I do starts to reveal itself. So it's like nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. So I'm not really trying to achieve anything. I don't coach with any goals in mind. I coach much more for awareness. And with that awareness, to go back to presence in nature, there's a presence where if I just, if I'm busy, very often I get stuck in this where, if you put your hand up to your face about a quarter of an inch from your face, you can't see anything. How clearly can you see your hand? Well, I can't. Okay, it's like, what's in your peripheral vision? Well, fingers, and I can see a wall, but just put it there. Now I can see. So nature works at so many levels. It's almost like when we go into nature, we walk side by side with people, we slow down. We move out of that busyness because we're often so caught up in our endless to-do lists and our endless busyness. And we live in a culture that worships at the altar of busyness. Are you busy? Yeah. And if you say, no, I'm not busy, people go, oh, is everything okay? It's almost like there's a death in the family. So in a way, what happens when we're in nature, if we give ourselves permission to be fully present, we slow down, we start to open up, and we become more present to what's already there. It's not, it's not that it's not there. It's just we become present to what's already there. And in a sense, that's what presence is. And in a way that kind of goes then towards that direction of spirituality, if you wish, of belonging or feeling at home. Whatever words, and as you're saying, many people have many different words for it, but it's not so much the words as the experience.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much. That was super detailed, and I could really see how it might feel when you do your nature walks and when you do the coaching in nature, and that you use it as like a tool set as well, the nature that increases your presence, or is it just there? Okay, no, tell me, please.
Yeah. So why am I shaking my head? It's
Mhm.
not a tool set. It's, and this is the mindset that I'm inviting a lot of people to let go of, because we tend to objectify, nature is there as a resource.
Mm.
It's a natural resource. And then this is the mindset that has actually allowed us to destroy nature. And so nature, we're not apart from nature. We're not a part of nature. As humans, we are nature. And and I think the spirituality for me goes to, we have created this story of separation where we are so disconnected from ourselves, from others, and from nature. And really, the new spirituality, if you wish, is to reconnect with what's already there. So that, in a way, when we bringing beginner's mind to nature, so that when we look at a flower, we, you know, we're just astonished by its beauty. I'm looking out the window and there are beautiful red flowers on the quince tree that is in my view there. And it's just, if I take a moment to allow that in, it's, it's beautiful. And then we can ask the question, so what came first, the acorn or the oak tree? And how did that actually manifest? And so in a way, when we bring that curiosity, which, if we're in nature and we're truly present, it just, in a way, it just happens. But what gets in the way is our mind, is the mind, our mindsets, our thinking. Research shows we have 80,000 thoughts a day. So in a sense, we're already living in a virtual reality. We're living in our own minds. It's like, oh my God. And when we're stuck in busyness, we miss what's here. And the culture we live in is profoundly sick. Krishnamurti said, it's no sign of health to be well adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And so the work I do with clients is to help them to see that and recognize, I don't need to be part of that. I can choose, make conscious choices of what I want to be part of.
Thank you. And thank you also for opening my mind right now to see it in a different way. Instead of tools, it's more like an extension from us as we are connected with it. That's how I feel now anyway. More connected after you're telling me that we often, we do separate it or we do label it. I think like Eckhart Tolle always says, you see like this amazing flower or this amazing bird, and as soon as you label it, it's like, oh, that's a robin as the bird, or that's this and this flower, like a sunflower. It's kind of done. The mind is just done with labeling, and the beauty of itself is kind of taken away just by us labeling it. So I like how you described it, that if you really look at the flower without trying to label it, without trying to objectify nature, and just become aware of it, that you then slow down and then also really notice the beauty. So I think this is great work you're doing. And I know, as being a coach myself, you can't share something client related as in depth, but maybe I'm just super curious, if you have an example you are able to share where you could see that there was this busyness in that person, and then you went and worked with them in nature, and then something else happened, like something you could kind of sense that there was a process happening, a transformation happening towards a more connected self with nature.
Yeah, that's a great question, Vivka. So if I go back a step for a moment, there's a beautiful practice I invite people to do. It's called a beginner's
Yes.
mind practice. And it's something that you can do on, if you go for a nature walk, for the invitation is to take an hour and go for a nature walk and to imagine you're a Martian who's arrived down from Mars and you've never seen Earth before. You've never seen any plants. In fact, you don't even know the name plant or tree or whatever. And so the invitation is to go with the beginner's mind where you don't have words or labels for anything and simply bring that curiosity. Now, of course, the mind will not immediately go, oh, now I'm a Martian, because the mind will go, oh, there's a bird, and the invitation is to interrupt the labeling so that we can purely experience the experience of simply being with nature rather than having to label everything. So that's an invitation for maybe some of your viewers or listeners who are interested to try out something that may be a bit different. Yeah, so that's part of the invitation I would bring to people. And then
That's brilliant. Thank you.
you're welcome. And then to go back to your question, so yeah, so this morning I can give you an example. So I was working with a client, and what I really notice is when I'm in nature, a lot of the practices that I'm inviting clients to do, and a lot of the metaphors that come to me come in the moment, but they're also from nature. And so one of the models I had introduced to this client before was above the line and below the line. So this is it comes from Joseph Campbell. It's the circle of awareness. So what's above the line is in our conscious awareness, and what's below the line is in our subconscious. And very often what drives our behaviors, our habits, emotions, worldviews, mindsets, childhood stories, and so on, which are mostly below the line. And this client said to me, we were standing by the sea. And she was kind of going, explain that to me, the above the line, below the line again. And so I looked out to the sea and I said, well, if you look at what's above the sea, that's our conscious awareness. And what's below the line is underneath the sea, in the sea. That makes so much sense. And so she could start to see, yeah, okay, so this is what's below the line. Okay, these are the things that are driving my behavior. And she had in a sense described as well, and I'm not going to disclose anything that would be confidential, but I think what was interesting was I've been working with her for probably 9 months now, and so we know each other quite well, and we've done a lot of work in nature. And one of the other things that came this morning was a tightness in her jaw, and so whenever something is below the line, it starts to reveal itself. It reveals itself in a tightness in her jaw. And we happened to be standing in a place where there was a compass, where it showed north, south, east, west, and there was wind. And I said, it's almost like your jaw is a weather vane. A weather vane, it shows the direction from where the wind is coming. And she went, oh, wow, my jaw is a weather vane. Yeah, that's really interesting. And so, you know, when I do the nature walks, I always begin with a grounding practice. Grounding, arriving, connecting with the earth, connecting with Mother Earth. And so we become more grounded. As we become more grounded, we start to slow down. When I slow down, I see twice as much. And then I can start to see with beginner's mind. I can start to see with new eyes. And what I love about nature is it happens. I just have to be present. And if I'm present, these, the sea is there. Here's the story. We're standing in this beautiful place overlooking Dublin Bay, and the weather vane is there. So, in a sense, it's trusting that whatever emerges is the right thing to emerge. And in a way, nature unfolds in its own way. It's not like we can speed it up or slow it down. And yeah, when we have that patience to simply be present and allow it to emerge, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. And so that's the beauty. And nature's been life on Earth has been around for 4.6 billion years. There's something called a deep time walk, where you walk and each step you take is a million years. And so, you walk for 4.6 kilometers, and you get to the last step before you reach 4.6 kilometers, which is the length of your arm. This is the time that humanity has been on Earth. And then the fingertip of your nail is how long it is since the Industrial Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take a step back and you go, oh my goodness. So I've walked 4.6 kilometers almost, and yet this is the time in that 4.6 kilometers that humanity has been on Earth, in that 4.6 billion years. So the work I'm doing is I'm inviting people, in a sense, to awaken to the mystery. So that's spirituality. Perhaps.
Yes. Yes, yes, I see it as that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. And also for just reminding me now as well about the abundance nature always brings. Like, it just comes up in a way when you need it. It's always there. It's like you use it with your coaching together in like a symbiosis even. Things just appear, and you can use it as a metaphor, or even the wind plays with the client's body, and they can sense it. So you can, it's amazing. I really am fascinated how you use all that together. And just how abundant nature is all the time, always. And then you said something there with the grounding you do at the beginning. And it was kind of as if we are connected. I know we are. Um, because at the beginning I was thinking, oh, I need to ask him like about a tool or something someone can use, maybe if they don't have the capacity or opportunity to work with you, be in their own nature walk, maybe go on a nature walk, or even go to the beach. It's nature too, right? Don't has to be in the woods or somewhere. That they can use. So, and I really like the beginner's mindset, but now I'm super interested in the grounding technique. Is that something someone can do on their own as well, or is it more a guided kind of version?
No, like it's of course you can do it on your own as well. And just to go back, I don't talk about tools. Tools are for machines.
Okay,
And
yeah. I'm very coaching structured mindset, I can tell
yeah,
from my side.
and you know, but this is what's below the line in our way of thinking about the world as well. And it's not that it's good or bad or right or wrong. It's just,
Mm.
oh, this is how we've been trained and educated to think. And in a sense, you know, tools are for fixing things usually. And
Mm.
my philosophy of coaching is nobody needs fixing, everybody needs healing.
Right.
And so the grounding practice is very simple. You can do a grounding practice with a tree, and just arriving, standing with your feet hip distance apart and bringing your awareness, into the body initially, and then, opening your awareness up to the tree. And, I do a practice where with a client, I ask them, are you curious? Are you interested to try something? And, 99% of the time people say, yeah, absolutely, sure. And I say, this might be a bit strange, or, it might feel a bit weird, but, you know, 99% of the people go with it. So, and it's interesting. So we do that grounding practice where feeling your feet in connection with the earth, now connecting with the tree, you know, noticing how old the tree might be. Maybe, there's a beech tree where I do this regularly with. And I also invite the client to get permission from the tree before they do the exercise, ask for permission. And then just connecting, feeling your feet as if there are roots going down through the soles of your feet. And the roots are interconnected with the roots of the tree. And then recognizing that the air that you are breathing is actually coming from trees just like this tree. And the air that you breathe out is going to feed the trees and the plants. And so there is that interconnectedness as well. And just really inviting them to sense into that and to arrive and ground themselves and feel, how does that feel in the body? What do they notice as they do that in the body? And very often it can be quite expansive, and expansion is usually that expansion from here where we're caught in the mind to we go from head to heart. And having that expansive view or expansive experience where we feel that interconnectedness, where we start to realize, yeah, this tree, I just feel part of this tree as well. This feels like, yeah, we're interconnected. So Buddha's philosophy in 3 sentences: everything's connected, nothing lasts, you are not alone. So Thich Nhat Hanh speaks about everything's connected. He talks about interbeing, and so it speaks to the interconnectedness of everything. Nothing lasts. So if you think we're humanity's time on this earth in 4.6 billion years is, an arm's length on a 4.6 kilometer walk, how insignificant are we? And, this is an invitation into recognizing the impermanence of everything. And you are not alone is as humans, to be human is to suffer, because we've created this false sense of separation. That means if we can just connect with that reality of we are nature, then that's the healing journey. Nobody needs fixing. Nobody needs tools. Everybody needs healing. And that's what nature does.
We can end this right here, right now. Those were the most beautiful 3 sentences I've heard. Like lots of truth. It really resonated with me when you said those at the very end now. And I do believe as well, I don't think anyone needs fixing. I think everyone just needs healing and someone who understands and empathizes with them and holds space and is present. So I will put your website on the episode as well, and you can send me all the links if people want to connect with you and want to take advantage of your coaching and coaching walks and nature walks. And are there any, well, you already said nice final words, but are there any final words you'd like to give the listeners with today, or anything else you would like to share?
Yeah, I think my invitation to your listeners is to connect with the beauty of what's in front of us, and to really connect with it so that we fall in love with Mother Earth and do everything we can to protect her, to look after her, to stop destroying it. Because, you know, we are destroying nature and we're using nature. We're coming from this extractivist mindset. And so the most important thing is that we fall in love with Mother Earth again, if we're not already in love with her, and do everything that we possibly can to protect her from humanity.
Thank you very much. And also thank you for telling me what language I use, because I'm going to be, I gained more awareness today as well, and how I might phrase things differently and also look at things differently. So thank you for that awareness shift. And everyone else who's listening, if you found this interesting or valuable, and you have a friend who might think that's valuable as well, the practices and methods we learned today, please share, and always feel free to give a nice rating as well. Thank you so much for being here today, Grattan. It was super, super interesting, very valuable, and I can feel the love to nature now. And thanks so much. See you back. Bye.
Thank you, Vibke. Bye.